Hi. Okay. So I'm coming here today to talk to you about the childhood wounds that kind of show up and affect us, and they get in the way of us being able to reach who we're meant to be and achieve the kind of success we're meant to achieve, the kind of impact that we're supposed to be achieving in our lives and in our business. The thing to keep in mind is that there is inside all of us a wounded child. And that wounded child is literally waiting to be made whole. And until that happens, those wounds, they follow us, they haunt us, and they show up to the surface anytime we're expanding. Which is why, if you've known me at all and if you've followed me at all, you know I like to say how starting and growing a business is literally a spiritual practice. It's a little bit like an intimate relationship. It's gonna push all your buttons. It's gonna bring up all the places where you don't feel good enough, where all the places where you've been rejected, where you've been made to feel small. And in some ways, it's not a bad thing. What's happening when that happens, it's literally an invitation for us to show up for ourselves and to provide that small part of us that is still wounded, that is still believing in an old story, a way out, a way to wholeness, a way to essentially step into that next level self that we are meant to be, a way to step into our own sovereignty. Some of us, so I'm going to give you 5 main childhood wounds that I see show up over and over and over with my clients. My clients are amazing. They are literally here to change the world in some ways. And oftentimes, I think one of my genius is I can see how brilliant they are in a way that they can't almost quite conceive of themselves. And these are the 5 things I see come up over and over that holds them back, that keeps them small, that keeps them struggling, that keeps them hiding out and not reaching the potential they literally are wired for. I will also tell you that I have all 5 of these. And, like, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a spiritual nerd. I've been a meditator, I've been a healer, an energy worker since I was a teenager. And my business has been the biggest playground for me to rise out of that and expand into who I'm meant to become, which is why I feel really passionate about this topic, essentially. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa. I'm, as you can imagine, based on this intro, um, an intuitive business mentor, and I work mainly with healers, practitioners, transformational and spiritual leaders, people who are really here to not only create an amazing life and business for themselves, but they're really here to have an amazing impact. And I help them do just that. I help them reclaim their lives. I help them fill their programs and get booked out without any of the burnout, without doing big launches, without having to be somebody they're not, essentially. Um, and by the way, just in case I forget later, in the description of this live, there is a link for you and I to get on a call. If you are a spiritual leader, if you are a healer, if you are a practitioner, if you're a transformational coach in some ways, and you're ready to take yourself and your business to the next level, then I would love for you and I to have a chat and to see what needs to happen in you and in your business to get to that next level with a lot more ease, a lot more joy, a lot more freedom. All right, let's get started. Grab a pen, grab a paper. What I'm going to invite you to do is, as you hear me go through these 5 things, is figure out which one is yours. Like, what are the things you need to work on? Because I will tell you that the first step to growth, the first step to transformation is awareness. Once you start seeing, and this is what happens for me, is I'll get into a funk or I'll feel rejected or something will happen. And right away, rather than getting stuck in it, I'll be like, ooh, this is my little one inside me asking for help. And then I have a protocol, I have a process that I take myself through to essentially be able to move through it and provide myself what I call the missing experience. The thing we have to know with these wounds is all of these wounds got created when we, as a small child, did not get what we needed in that moment. Whether what we needed was validation, support, love, recognition, belonging, it doesn't matter. But something happened where literally we did not get what we needed. When these wounds come back up in adulthood, whether they come back up in your in your intimate relationships, or they come back up in your business or in other areas of your life, there are literally an invitation from the part of you that's wounded to essentially complete a cycle and get the missing experience. The beauty with this is when we are aware enough and we are in the growth and healing process for ourselves, we don't need to wait for the outside world to provide us for what we need. We can then start being our own best friend, being our own. It's almost like we're mothering ourselves and we're healing and providing for ourselves the missing experience, which will then literally like unwind the block that was created in childhood. And that little pocket of energy in every block, in every wound you have, there's energy locked in there. And that energy suddenly then becomes available for you to use in your life. It becomes available for you to use in your business. It becomes available for you to use in your relationships. It becomes available for you to use in your creative process, in your marketing, in everything that makes you you, and it allows you to expand even more. So here are the 5, and they're not in any specific order. The first main childhood wound that I have seen in myself, and I see in a lot of my clients that will come up and haunt us and affect us and keep us small in adulthood and in our business, is a feeling or a sense of powerlessness, a sense of things are done to me and I have no power to change them. As a child, we were exactly that way. As a child, we were essentially at the mercy of life and the mercy of adults. And so that sense can continue, and then it permeates the way we do business. So we're not feeling in charge, we're not feeling in control of our life, of our happiness, of our success. And it can start subtly creating a sense of victimization. The main emotions here tend to be blame, like you start blaming others and feeling like a victim. So some example of that in business might be something like, no one is buying right now, or COVID ruined my business. Essentially putting the power of your success outside of you instead of within you. Um, and there can be a sense of helplessness or hopelessness that permeate that. And if you know me at all, and you've watched any of these, I like to say that like strategy is like 10-20% and energy is like 80% of your success. So you could literally be doing everything right. But if that sense of powerlessness, that sense of not being the ultimate force within your life is there in the background, everything will be affected by it. The way you show up will be affected by it, and none of your strategies will work. So that's the first main childhood wound, is a sense of feeling powerless in our lives. The second one is rejection and abandonment. So that's the second main wound. And I see that a lot showing up with a lot of us are afraid to be rejected in business. That's why, especially sensitive, soulful entrepreneurs hate sales. They want to serve, they want to provide value, but they hate selling because selling is where we get rejected. Like inviting people to work with us, inviting people to get on a call with us is where that rejection comes in. So, the little wound behind there is the no one likes me. I'm the last one picked for PE, which by the way I was. Um, or no one's going to come to my birthday party. So this is where we're afraid of creating events. We're afraid of starting things and inviting people. We're afraid of, again, selling because we feel like we're going to get a no. And when we expect a no, we tend to get a no. And this becomes the subtle conflict, is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The main emotion in the rejection and abandonment wound is a sense of loneliness and not belonging, and maybe even feeling unsupported by life. Some of the example here is, a fear of like, what if no one buys? What if no one signs up for my event? Um, People don't want what I have. So if you have any of these thoughts, then there is in the background that kind of wound that's here. Wound number 3 is feeling unworthy or unlovable. The main emotion for this one is shame, feeling unappreciated and inadequate. Obviously, that comes often from a wounding of maybe not having parents who were not available or who had their own shit going on. And we internalize that as a child, and then that carries on, and we keep having that feeling. And it almost makes us feel like we're not good enough. So some of the example of what I see when I know that this is a wound that's alive is statements like, who am I to do this or to teach this or to share this? Or I'm not ready, or others are better than me, or I've done it for more, I have more certifications, are more together, are more successful. No one's going to want to buy from me. They're going to want to buy from them. That's a sense of feeling not good enough, feeling unworthy, feeling unlovable. So that's wound number 3. Wound number 4 is it's not safe to be me. And you see, I have that one a lot. You see that with a lot with kids who were maybe bullied or picked on, where literally when they showed up as themselves, it backfired. You can see this sometimes too in families where there was some jealousy. So if somebody like showed up brightly, either a sibling or a parent would tell them to dim their light or to shut up or whatever it may be. um Oftentimes the main emotion, and I will also say this, I feel like it's not safe to be me. Like a lot of us who are healers, who are soulful entrepreneurs, um we have what I call the witch wound. This sense of like, if we're different, if we shine, if we put ourselves out there, it's literally dangerous. And I think a lot of us have just either that in our DNA as women or as healers. And some of us have it in our DNA in terms of ancestry. Like when you think about what happened, 100 years ago, it wasn't always safe to be different or to help people or to have skills like that or to have gifts like that. You got persecuted for having them. So it's not safe to be me leads to us feeling afraid to be judged, to be criticized. It leads to hiding ourselves, playing small, downplaying who we are, dimming our own lights, dimming what we've accomplished, or downplaying what we've accomplished and the results we can get. We just downplay. There's a sense of like, if I put myself out there, I'm afraid of the attention I might get. And there's no way to grow a business that way, because in some ways growing a business is attracting attention. It's very hard to grow a business successfully under the radar. um, some of the example of that is, what if I fail? What if I'm judged? What if I'm criticized? Or even what if people turn on me? What if I'm discovered as a fraud? Like those kind of things will show up in that. And then the last wound in there is life's not fair, life's hard. So it's kind of like that pessimistic, and this is a little bit like number 1 with the powerlessness. Hold on, let me close my door. Dogs are barking. So the fifth wound is a little bit like the powerlessness wound. It's literally a sense of pessimism, like almost feeling down, depressed. There's like a depression, like I could do everything right and it's still not going to work. And you can see that often in kids who have had a sense of betrayal. No matter what they did, no matter how hard they tried, they were either betrayed or disappointed by life, by their parents, by friends. Um, the sense there is resentment, apathy. There's a lot of grief that hasn't been processed in this wound. And there's also a deep sense of not being supported by life, which makes doing anything, expanding in any way, growing in any way, much more difficult because we don't feel almost like life wants us to do that. So some of the example is a sense of like nothing comes easy to me. Um, there's no way to be successful without sacrificing something. I get a lot in this wound. There's a lot of fear of success. Like even if I succeed, it's going to be at a cost. There's a lot of conversation out there in entrepreneurial world about the fear of failure. I actually think that the fear of success is almost more alive. If I succeed, I'm going to have to give up myself. I'm going to have to give up my freedom. I'm going to be in the limelight. If I succeed, I'm going to be overwhelmed. I'm going to sacrifice. There's going to be a cost to my success. So these are the five main wounds I see that haunt us and keep us small, keep us struggling, keep us hiding out, keep us from reaching our full potential and the full impact we could have in our lives, in our intimate relationships, and in our business. What's very difficult for us to perceive is that this is a lens. Literally, when we have these wounds, we see the world through those lenses. And it's a construct. It's the story that we tell ourselves based on an experience we've had. What happens though is that the more we see the world that way, the more it feels real, the more that energy permeates us, the more it actually becomes a tangible experience. So all those fears we have about, oh, I'm going to do all this thing and it's not going to work out, or people are going to reject us, or it's not safe to be me, or people rather work with someone else than me, like feeling unlovable, feeling unworthy. What ends up happening is that we literally prove ourselves right. We end up feeling rejected, feeling not good enough, attracting the wrong clients. Like we start attracting unconsciously people who can't pay us, people who will say no, people who will work with us but not do the work and then say that it's us even though they didn't do the work. Like we literally set ourselves up to prove those wounds correct if we don't move through them and work with them and essentially invite ourselves to be made whole and to move through that. And so I will also often tell clients, like when a client will come to me and they will talk about a frustration in their business, like, yes, we can look tangibly at what needs to happen for that to stop happening. Like, in what way does your messaging need to shift? What needs to happen in your pricing? What needs to happen in your offer? What shift can we make in your marketing? That's a strategic aspect. But there's always the energetic, the emotional aspect that also needs to be taken care of, where I might say to a client, how does this feeling match something that happened to you in the past? And what was the story you created back then? Because if you keep holding on to that story, even unconsciously, you will subtly keep repeating it. So even if we deal with this problem and we shift your messaging, or we shift your CTA, or we shift your offer, or we do a different thing in your marketing, like that's all great. But if that story, if that sense that you're not good enough, or people are going to reject you, or people don't want what you have, or you're not ready enough, if that sense is still in the background, literally, we will find subtle, unconscious way to recreate it again. So it's always, I say strategy and energy. They're the two wings of a bird. You need both to take off. You need both to fly. You need both to soar. So that's my invitation in some ways to you, is to take a look at where are you stuck? Where are you playing small? Where are you hiding out? Where are you struggling? What fears are coming up? And start looking for the inception point. Start looking for the root of that. Start feeling how those things make you feel, and look back as to where did that come from? Like, what's the story? What's the belief behind it? And yes, work on it from two perspective. Work on it from the perspective of what you need to do strategically in action, because change, transformation always takes action. And where do you need to shift and change internally, emotionally, so that you start believing something else? And what is the missing experience that you need to provide for yourself? What is the thing that you needed to have at the inception point of that belief that you didn't get? What did you not get that you needed as a child? And how do you provide that for yourself so you can start unwinding these knots and reclaiming the power that's caught up in them, so that you can use that power, you can use that energy to literally explode you, expand you, transform your results and how you show up in your life and in your business. It is my absolute passion to work with people who are going to create an amazing impact, have gifts to offer the world, partially because the world's shit right now, and we need these kind of people to come up to the surface, to really reclaim their sovereignty, their power, and to start serving powerfully. We need it as a species. We need it in our world. There's no way to do that without looking at the inner work. And yes, I know I'm a business mentor, but I've also been a psychotherapist for 20 years, and I've been an energy healer for almost just as long as that, actually. And so I know that it's all intertwined. Your outer life is a mirror of your inner life, and it takes both to create real change, real transformation, real exponential growth in your results, in your business, in the kind of impact and income that you can make. So, where are you afraid to be seen? Where are you holding yourself back? Where are you not fully showing up? And start seeing what needs to be unwound, what needs to be healed, what needs to be made whole in the past, so that you can reclaim that part of you and you can start showing up, because the world needs you too. So that's my live today. And if you're ready to quantum leap your business in 2022, if you want to design a super simple, aligned business that literally creates twice the result with half the work, half the effort, and in half the time, then I want to invite you to book that complimentary aligned business breakthrough session with me. During this session, it's free. It's 60 to 75 minutes with me, where you and I are going to partner together and look at everything in your business, from your mindset and the energy and this, like all the internal stuff, all the way to your offers, your pricing, your marketing, your sales process. And we're going to figure out what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be shifted, what needs to be added, removed, expanded for you to literally explode your results, for you to fill your schedule, fill your offers with so much more ease and so much more enjoyment, essentially. Because if you don't love it, it's not success. I don't care how much money you're making. So if that feels like something you could use, then let's chat. And by the way, it's not a sales call. It's you and I partnering together, working together for that 60 plus minute. And if at the end of that, and we're going to create a blueprint, we're going to figure out exactly what your roadmap is to that effortless success. If after that you're like, oh my God, Ilsa, I got more in that 60 minutes than I have working with anybody else before me, I want to work with you, If that's how you feel at the end of that, then I will make an invitation. But I'm not wasting your time trying to get you to buy something for an hour and tricking you. And no, I'm going to work with you. I want you to have the impact you're meant to have. And I want to be part of your success in some ways. And so if at the end of that hour, we've worked great together, you've had a lot of value, and you want to keep working together, then we'll figure out how to do that. So if you want to take me up on that call, then it's in the description of this live. Just click on the link, book the call, and let's chat. All right, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to share with you. I'm really excited for what you're going to create and share with the world. And I'm sending you love. And I hope this was helpful in some ways. And just know that your business is literally an invitation to expand. Just like you're helping others out there expand and grow and heal, literally your business is part of doing that for yourself. It's not just about money. It's not even just about impacting other people. It's about your own impact on yourself by following your dreams, by building and living your purpose and your passion. All right, that's it. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a lovely weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.